My name is Ivan Potoknik, and I'm a video gamer. Ever since I can remember, I've been a gamer, and it's always proven itself as a great means of entertainment, a wonderful way to escape, and a valuable learning tool to me. Being so vastly interested in gaming and playing such an active role in the community myself, I decided it would make an interesting project to delve deeper and take a more anthropological look at what it means to be a gamer, and what it represents to be part of the modern folk group that is gaming culture. I traveled extensively to various LAN parties trying to learn as much as I can about how people felt about gaming, how it had impacted their lives, and the various rituals and symbols involved with being a gamer. I wanted to remove all the wool and get an honest, objective view of what gaming meant to people. By the way, LAN means local area network. A LAN party is when groups of gamers congregate to link their various machines to more easily, more closely, and more quickly play games with one another. When asked what kind of games people preferred, I got an incredibly wide array of responses.
Warcraft 3.
Final Fantasy 7.
First-person shooters and massively multiplayer online gaming.
World of Warcraft when it was first released.
Mega Man.
Counter-Strike.
Probably RPGs or MMOs.
I met many interesting people at these parties and even hosted a few myself. Partly because of this, I had the opportunity to sit down with several gamers and ask them how they felt about participating in the gaming community. My first interview was with Michael Johnson.
My name is Michael Johnson. I work at Etc. in the Southside Mall. I'm a pretty avid gamer, I would say.
Etc. itself is a gaming shop, is it not?
Yes, it is.
My second interview was with Eric Clow.
My name's Eric Clow.
And my third interview was with Scott Goebel.
My name's Scott, and I'm a 28-year-old gamer, and I work at Radio Shack, and I like to play video games.
I began by asking each one of them what they thought would be a suitable definition for gaming. First, Michael.
Something as a social gathering for friends and family.
Then Eric.
For me, gaming might be different than it would be for somebody else. Playing games for me, I always play them competitively. I like playing in leagues and that sort of thing. Then
Scott.
Some place I can play and not have any restrictions of reality.
Although we may understand and recognize some of the terms used in the gaming community, I was very interested in asking what some of the more meta, culture-specific vernacular used by the common gamer was. Eric came up with a couple of good ones.
Oh man, there's lots of them. I would say that owned, I would say probably came from gaming. That's when I've heard it the most. My favorite would be Elite, or 1337, short for Elite. Came from a name of one of the skins you could choose in Counter-Strike. It was like a hacking term.
In researching, I found a multitude of these terms, including Leet, Pwnage, ZOMG, WTF, BBQ, Hacks, C1, Noob, Rafflecopter, Lolcano, and a great many others. Some even consider it its own language, dubbed Leet Speak, named after the term Eric had explained for me earlier. Although just one opinion, when asked if there was much carryover for gamer vernacular into everyday life, Scott had something very interesting to say.
Barely. Only if I'm hanging out with a select group of people that I know will catch it.
So you're saying that it's very specific to the gamer culture itself?
Yeah, it's my crew.
Another thing that interested me in talking to members of the gaming community were some of the symbols and various rituals involved with being a gamer. Many people I spoke with and my interviewees all responded with a plethora of various rituals prevalent in the gaming world, some healthy and some not so much, demonstrated by Eric's response.
I mean, a lot of people choose to drink energy drinks, stay up very, very late, listen to trance-type music while playing. I mean, all that's kind of shared amongst gamers nowadays, I think. I mean, it's changed a lot.
On the opposite spectrum, Michael currently works in the game industry, having turned his pastime into a daily ritual that is his career. Scott's response interested me, though.
Me and my crew get together and actually group up with laptops and play together.
I found this fascinating, in that although one could consider themselves in a folk group simply by being a gamer, there are even subdivisions within that folk group of smaller, more intimate folk groups. The last course of conversation I took with several of my interviews was that of how gamer culture is perceived by people, including how the gamers within the culture saw themselves. Many of the responses I'd gotten to the question of how society views gamers were surprisingly pessimistic. Both Eric and Michael were quoted as saying that many gamers are seen as dorky and nerdy, and Michael was even quoted as saying that many see gaming as just for children, or for people who are fat and lazy, and is completely a waste of time and money. Scott had this to say about it.
Personally, I don't care how the gaming community is looked at by the outside community, because fuck them if they do judge. Aside from that, generally looked down on upon the mass media and what it does to the youth. I don't know, best quote ever was, give a kid a block of wood and he's going to find a way to hold it as a gun. If gaming is looked at as people just getting together to play, then it's just that, and it's that innocent. It can be looked at from any different aspect, but that's all based on the individual.
Although many of these answers seem quite negative, Eric raised an interesting point about how gaming had adapted and better integrated into today's society.
Originally it was seen as dorky. I think when I started playing a lot with my friends, it wasn't something that everybody did. Now everybody has an Xbox and everybody games on their consoles and plays Call of Duty online or Halo or a game like that. Now I think it's pretty accepted for the most part. I mean, there's a lot more people playing games for a lot of hours each night than there was back before. Me, I don't know anybody who has any problems with me playing, other than my girlfriend maybe sometimes.
When asked how gamers view themselves, I got a slew of varied responses. The general consensus was that it is not merely a pastime, but also a way of life. It is a means of escape from the everyday world, and at the same time a great outlet for people looking to learn, be part of a larger, very active online community, and also to compete. Eric even told me that he's gotten more value out of his years of competitive gaming than he ever has from conventional sports or competition. When asked how Michael views himself as a gamer, his response was especially fascinating.
The casual, what you'd find just like an everyday person. I mean, they've done scientific studies showing, video gamers get better hand-eye coordination for other skills. I mean, they actually do give you people skills too if you're playing, people online.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that playing video games might actually enhance your social abilities? This was a common theme among many of the gamers I talked to. So what all of these talks boiled down to was, how has gaming as a folk culture affected these people? What have they taken away from it, and what will leave a lasting impression on them? I was surprised to find that, contrary to many of the outside opinions stating that gaming is a waste of time or will rot your brain, people had a strongly positive view on how gaming had affected them and their lives. Almost everyone I talked to was proud to be part of the gaming folk culture and had taken something valuable away from it, like Eric's years of competing and Michael's current career. When I asked Scott what he'd taken away from it, he did not skip a beat answering me.
Problem solving, easy stated problem solving all day, every day. When you're in a video game and something comes up, a boss that you haven't fought before, or a situation that you haven't come across before, it's steps that you take to diagnose the situation, to tear it apart and get to a better solution than you have before.
This blew me away. Couldn't life really be seen as all just leading up to the next boss battle? My research and time spent with various members of the gaming community revealed a lot about some of the preconceptions about gamers, and how it's in gamers' very natures to constantly defy them. With a rich culture, language, and set of rituals, it's hard for anyone not to see a little glimmer of gamer within themselves.